In all honesty, it is a rather superfluous matchup in terms of any significance in any of the table really, apart from the bottom. Elsewhere is where we really will know the final answers to the Premier League puzzle. But here today at Old Trafford, Manchester United are signing off the season in front of their home crowd. There will be one thing that may be settled in this matchup though, and that's who will get the Golden Boot award at the end of the season. I believe Everton's Gilbert Sigurdsson and Marcus Rashford are tied on 18 goals apiece going into this final weekend. Manchester United, if they win here, could win the title by quite some margin. It'll be 16 points depending on what Chelsea do in their matchup as well against Huddersfield, if I remember rightly. But in terms of anything, it means very little. Watford, with a win here, could actually solidify third place. But they're coming up against a stronger Manchester United side than they would have expected. But I think Gregg Popovich does actually want to win this match and kind of prove superiority and make his name even more feared than it already was before the season had started. Well, in the middle of the season when he was on that magnificent run. The final game of the Gregg Popovich era of Season 1. Joel Piera, starting goal. Tuanzebe is with Lindelof and Eric Bailly. It's Zardes, Daley Blind, Juan Mata, McTominay and Piera in the midfield. It's his preferred formation. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is up top with Marcus Rashford. And I don't think there's any surprise in that. For Watford, Kameris is actually in goal, and it's with Yamak Kabul, Priel, Verja, and Holbas. Gibber is with De Conque, and Williams is with Troy Deeney and Patty in the front three today. One man notably missing, Aaron Henwood, who was sent off at Vicarage Road earlier in the season. No need to play him, of course, with everything almost wrapped up. Although we have the lingering question, will Marcus Rashford score today and put his name in the Golden Boot ranks? We will keep an eye on what Everton are doing and see if they Gilbert Sigurdsson gets another goal for himself. See how that doesn't necessarily mean Manchester United could win this match. Rashford just has to score, which in Rashford's case wouldn't be so difficult. But he's had a bit of a dry spell recently. Mata, Rashford, Ibrahimovic. Rashford is heading towards the box. Zlatan gives it to him, and it's a gate side by the keeper, but the rebound is in. Marcus Rashford has got one. We don't know what the situation is at Everton, but right now Marcus Rashford leads the race for the Golden Boot in the Premier League. And there's a whole kerfuffle between the Watford man and his goalkeeper. And Watford proving to be their own undoing in that instance. And Marcus Rashford does not miss from that range. 19 goals for Marcus Rashford in his second full season as a Manchester United player. And he looks and feels just so much better than he ever did under Jose Mourinho. His resistance to use the youth player wasn't really shown at Old Trafford. He used Rashford in the majority of the games, but everyone felt he kind of regressed under him. But under Gregg Popovich, there's been no such issue for him because that's Gregg's style. Flashy attacking football and plenty of goals in it. So Manchester United currently now 16 points ahead in the title race, depending on what Chelsea do, of course. Mata, Ibrahimovic. In comes Zardes, and he pulls the keeper out. And here comes Mata, and that's an inverted, but United will certainly take it. Well, Zardes, I think, wanted to cross it in and kind of fluff the keeper, and he did. Great pass from Zlatan here. Zardes kind of sends Watford into a state of confusion. It comes off the Watford man inadvertently and into the path of Mata. He does a miss. And Watford could be in for a long afternoon. Gregg Popovich is asserting his authority on this Premier League this season, and it's going to give him fantastic confidence going into the next one. where he can really sit down and analyse the squad he's got. Well, probably not fully though, because he's got the World Cup with the USA to deal with. Let's not forget that in all the brilliance of Gregg Popovich this season, we have to remember that he is the United States head coach and will be going to the World Cup with said team. Not much is expected of him there. If he can advance past the group stages, he might have a chance, although I think the USA were drawn against France. I can't remember. But in any case, we do have that to kind of think about. Zlatan trying to play it back to Rashford again. They're just going to give him the ball, aren't they? Everyone else is going to pick up scraps. Foul on Tuanzebe, it should be. It's not. There is no foul given against Watford, and Tuanzebe, and now the referee has stopped play. And Tuanzebe is hurt here. They're calling for the stretcher. Oh no. Well, what awful luck for Excel Tuanzebe. Oh, he has fallen awkwardly, to be fair. Oh dear. And he was having such a good time. He was on such good form. He was getting a good run of games going. And, well, you know what's ironic? That's Manchester United's second worst injury, the second serious injury of the season, right at the end of it. The first one was Lukaku at the beginning of it. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, 5 goals in 10 appearances for Gregg Popovich. And I think he knew going in that he would not get a lot of game time. He obviously was injured. Yes, he was. He was injured in the Europa League. Him and Rojo were the injury list at the beginning of the season, along with Aaron Henwood. There's Troy Deeney, Solidar Piera, and cleared by Zardes. And Angel Gomez in particular have proven why. Even Scott McTominay has had a few games and he's looked impressive. Looks like he might be something for the future. Marcus Rashford! Another goal from Marcus Rashford. And he wants that boot, doesn't he? And my goodness, he's going to get it. At the moment, it's another goal for him. Goal number 19. Oh, goal number 20, actually. I believe that is for Marcus Rashford. No, yes, it is 20. So Marcus Rashford is on 20 goals. He's scored more than Lukaku, and he's scored more than Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And they were kind of the marquee signings that a lot of Manchester United fans thought they would really be going places with them. Instead, it's young Marcus Rashford who's done it for them. And Martial as well. Goal number 20 in the league for Marcus Rashford. He has been sensational yet again. 3-0 to United. And it is a stroll. For the first time in a few games for Manchester United, they've struggled a little bit. But here today, they seem again unbeatable. It's all about the bottom of the table today. The top in the middle are rather superb. This goal coming in. Swansea have taken the lead against Stoke City. And they are now kind of in the driver's seat here because they were the 18th place team, if I remember rightly. So Swansea have an early lifeline. It's all dependent on what Chelsea can do against Huddersfield can do against Chelsea, and Newcastle can do in their match as well. Burnley as well are in trouble. Huddersfield have Arsenal in Arsene Wenger's final game of the season, and his Arsenal career, incidentally. I have to find out what they're doing. The saving grace for Huddersfield is Arsenal have had a really kind of down season. They've really kind of gone nowhere. And here comes Williams, and saved by Joe Piera because he is just great at the moment. You have to wonder what Gregg will do in his goalkeeping situation. He has Romero, he's barely used him, he's got injured. Joe Piera is an up-and-comer. David De Gea, the world #1 goalkeeper who's kept very few clean sheets all season long. Joe Piera has been magnificent. And you have to wonder what Gregg Popovich is going to do in his goalkeeping situation. Is he going to let David De Gea out of his contract? Is he going to let go to Spain anyway? And if he does, will Joe Piera be the number one at Manchester United, incidentally? And right now he's playing like it. Smalling has actually cleared it out. That is half time. And Manchester United, and it is a convincing 3-0 lead with Marcus Rashford doing the scoring again. 20 goals to the league. Will it be enough to win him the Golden Boot for the season? I'll have to find out. But we'll just have a check on all the other half-time scores when they come in, because there is a few vital matches to talk about. But here at Old Trafford, it's United 3, Watford 0. Half-time scores, and a vital one to start at Turf Moor, because Burnley, who were in a relegation battle, are losing right now to Bournemouth. And Bournemouth have been on such a surge, and they look to assert their surgence as with a 1-0 lead over Burnley at the moment. And Burnley could be going down because Crystal Palace are beating West Brom, but they are already both those teams are already down, of course. But Huddersfield have grabbed the lead against Arsenal at half-time. So it looks like there's going to be a right old relegation scrap going on right at the end of the year. And Huddersfield look to maybe have saved themselves. Liverpool leading 2-0 at Brighton, but they're already safe. Newcastle, also in that relegation scrap, are losing to Chelsea. So it looks like Newcastle could be the team going down as of right now, with Swansea leading at Stoke. Southampton are losing to Manchester City. That's probably no surprise. Spurs and Leicester City a 1-1 draw. Swansea City, as we said, beating Stoke. At the bottom there, Everton have a goal to nil lead over West Ham. But it doesn't say that Gilfred Sigurdsson might have scored. But right now, Marcus Rashford is sitting on 20. So as of now, he leads the Golden Boot race. It has been a busy first season for Gregg Popovich, hasn't it? But expectations have been defied all across the board. Zlatan. Marcus Rashford is onside. Another goal for Marcus Rashford. Hat-trick hero for today. And that is a vital 3 goals in his race for the Golden Boot. He might just win it here, unless Gilfred Sigurdsson is on a tear at Everton right now. They're winning. Oh, Marcus Rashford, he makes it look easy. He has been, no doubt, the catalyst for Manchester United all season long. He, Pogba, Martial, they've all been scoring the goals. And it was vital that Marcus Rashford scored those goals, because Romelu Lukaku for the first 3 months of the season was injured. But boy, did he and Martial step up. It was the hottest partnership in the Premier League at one point, and I think it's proving to be the case today. Hat-trick hero Marcus Rashford. Manchester United 4, Watford 0, and in total command once again. They've had a bit of a shaky end, but they are asserting dominance right now at Old Trafford. Here's Zlatan. Oh, he's going to play it into Rashford, and he's intercepted there. An hour gone here. There could be more goals. They know what to do. They got to the semi-final, and that was further than anyone could have predicted. And like we said, I think this Manchester United squad will be ready for the Champions League next season. Maybe even with a food marquee sightings. Marcus Rashford has scored 4. It's 5-0 to Manchester United. And 4 for Marcus Rashford. He's definitely getting the Golden Boot now. There's no doubt about it. Well, we said United would give him the ball, and they are certainly doing that. Everyone's just gifting the ball to Marcus Rashford, and because he's on such brilliant form at the moment, he's making it look easy. A deserved Golden Boot for Marcus Rashford. What a sensational year he's had. And you have to think that Rashford, obviously, most definitely, probably on that plane to Russia in the World Cup in just over a month's time. Really blind. Juan Mata. Oh! An absolute belter from Juan Mata. 6-0 to Manchester United. An absolute belter to end the season from Juan Mata. That is beautiful. From outside the box, Blin picks it up here, falls to Mata. Oh, what a belter. No chance of the keeper. An absolute rocket from Mata. Brilliantly struck for his second goal of the game. And the keeper is very unlucky, to be fair, because he's just short. Gregg Popovich's team are rampant against Watford. Manchester United 6, Watford 0, and still time for more. Those fans, they cannot believe it. Manchester United have been totally transformed by Coach Pop. And should we be surprised? Probably not 100%. Gregg Popovich knows how to manage dynasties. But the fact that he came in with almost no prior knowledge of the sport and how it worked, that's the amazing feat. And that's just a testament really to Gregg Popovich's legacy. He's made himself a hero here at Old Trafford in about maybe 40 something games for the season. Flat out. You can't get there. The final whistle and Old Trafford is jubilant as Manchester United have another 6 goals to celebrate the end of the season. 4 of them for Marcus Rashford. He undoubtedly wins the Golden Boot for the season now. We have to await the result at Everton, but wow, what a year it has been for Gregg Popovich. It's just sensational how he has transformed this team. They've been in the stories all season long, even today. Manchester United 6, Watford 0. The final scores of the final weekend in the Premier League season, and there's about to be twists in the tale. Let's start at Turf Moor. Burnley have drawn with Bournemouth, and Bournemouth led Burnley at half-time. Now, Bournemouth was safe, but Burnley have got a point. Crystal Palace and West Brom 1-1, but Crystal Palace were down. The big winners of the day go to Huddersfield, who have beaten Arsenal by 1-0, and I, for one, think that makes them safe. Liverpool winning by 3-1 against Brighton. Manchester United absolutely dominating against Watford 6-0. Newcastle United have lost to Chelsea, and I believe that sends Newcastle United down. Southampton losing against City by 3-1. Spurs and Leicester City ended in a 2-2 draw. Swansea City conceded against Stoke City, however, so that changes things slightly, and I think that does save Huddersfield with their win at Arsenal. West Ham 0, Everton 1, and only 1 goal, which means Marcus Rashford is the Golden Boot winner after all. So it is stats time. We're going to start with the Premier League table. Manchester United absolutely dominant at the top by 13 points in the end ahead of Chelsea, and it's been a great starting season for Gregg Popovich and his start towards the future of Manchester United, which is looking incredibly bright on this year's evidence. Chelsea, despite their slump at the beginning of the season, recovered well to finish 13 points behind the champions in second place. Watford weren't going to catch Chelsea no matter what, I don't think, when you think about it. But Everton are the ones that have benefited the most. They go into the top 4 for the first time since 1 year under David Moyes, a long time ago. And Sam Allardyce has performed miracles, considering he came in on a whim at the beginning of the season. Leicester City settled for a Europa League spot in 5th place, and a good return to Leicester City. They've had a bit of a turbulent time since losing Claudio Ranieri, or sacking him rather. Liverpool 6th, Spurs 7th, Stoke City 8th, Manchester City 9th, and despite the slumping of the season, Arsenal, despite losing to Huddersfield, have finished in the top 10, and at least Arsene Wenger has a run of every year as manager finishing in the top 10 as he departs and lets someone else take over. But I think the evidence was there from a season ago that maybe things needed to change at the Emirates, and only finishing 10th has pretty much confirmed it. But Arsene Wenger has at least finished every season of his tenure in the top 10 at the very least. Southampton 11th, West Ham 12th, Brighton are safe, as are Bournemouth, and Eddie Howe has completed one of the greatest escapes of all time since the days of Portsmouth, because Eddie Howe, at one point, his Bournemouth side weren't even in double figures in wins and not even in points to a degree. Somehow, someway, Eddie Howe has saved them, and pretty much convincingly to a degree as well. Burnley are also safe, as are Huddersfield, so 2 of the 3 promoted clubs actually stay in the league for another season. And it's absolutely great to see Brighton and Huddersfield, the 2 teams with very little Premier League experience, actually staying in the Premier League. But Newcastle United suffer relegation for the second time in a few years, which is really unusual. Swansea, their late point had saved themselves, and Crystal Palace and West Brom were down a couple of weekends ago. Alright, so let's just wrap up the leagues that matter first, in terms of stats and everything. I think everything has been pretty much completed. Starting the Championship, and Mers YT13, undeniable joy for him, I'm sure, as his team get automatically promoted. Aston Villa, and the signing of John Terry proved to be absolutely vital in their push to be back in the Premier League, and it has worked wonders. They beat Wolves by 11 points. They also automatically come up. The playoff spots are Cardiff City, Norwich City, Leeds United and Reading at the bottom. It's going to be Millwall, Barnsley and Burton Albion going down to League One. Replacing them will be Blackburn Rovers and Scunthorpe United as automatic promotion goes. Blackburn Rovers absolutely dominating League One, winning it by 18 points in the end. Wow, Blackburn Rovers are a force to be reckoned with in the Championship next season. Charlton, Portsmouth, MK Dons, Bradford City in the playoff places. Unfortunately for Aaron Henwood's home team Plymouth Argyle, they miss out, with Rotherham, Peterborough and Oxford United completing the top 10. Quick note with Peterborough and Doncaster United, you may have been in the news that Sir Alex Ferguson has recently had surgery on a brain hemorrhage. Recently, the procedure went very well, and we all wish him very well in his recovery and send best wishes to the family, of course, to the Manchester United legend. At the bottom of League One, Blackpool, Oldham Athletic and Gillingham are the teams going down. Coming up are Luton and Notts County in terms of automatic promotion. Again, it seems like a whitewash for Luton Town, winning League 2 by 14 points. Mansfield just missing out on automatic promotion. They'll compete in the playoffs with Coventry City, Wigan and Chesterfield, with Swindon, Carlisle, Cheltenham, Port Vale completing the top 10 at the bottom. Going down to the conference, it'll be Accrington Stanley, Morecambe and Newport County. In France, Paris Saint-Germain have won the league by 2 points, I would assume, ahead of AS Monaco, who were one of the standouts in the Champions League group stages. Lyon and Marseille finished third and fourth, with Nice, Lille, Toulouse, ASSE, Nantes and Reyes completing the top 10 at the bottom of that one. It's Metz, KN and ESTAC Torres. Germany, Bayern Munich, probably to be expected German champions, ahead of Dortmund, Wolfsburg and Leipzig to complete the top 4. Leverkusen just miss out on a top 4 place. At the bottom, Stuttgart, Freiburg and Hanover are down there. In Italy, it's a win for Juventus. Napoli in second, losing it by 12 points. It's quite big margins in the leagues this year. Lazio in third. Roma go up to fourth ahead of AC Milan. Inter Milan down in 8th. Bologna 9th and Fiorentina completing the top 10 at the bottom. It's Calgary with Croto and Beventio at the bottom there. In Portugal, Porto are the champions, ahead of Sporting CP and Braga and Benfica, probably to be expected. Real Ave finishes in 8th, with Boleta and Brio Alves completing the top 10 at the bottom. It's Santa Maria with Portimao and Tondela. In the SPL, it's probably as to be expected. Brendan Rodgers has won the SPL once again with Celtic, but it was a close run thing, wasn't it? Rangers just 2 points behind in the end, as their era of Steven Gerrard actually rapidly approaches. Exciting times for Rangers, that's for sure. At the bottom, Hamilton and the team going down after Motherwell are ahead by 10 points. I'm not sure if that means they're safe. I think it does. My friend will have to consult me on that one. In Spain, Real Madrid win the league by 13 points ahead of Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Valencia in 4th, Sevilla 5th, Real 6th, Real Sociedad 7th, Athletic Bilbao in 8th, ahead of Espanyol and Deportivo in 9th and 10th. At the bottom, it is Granollers with Getafe and Alvarez down there. And finally, currently in the MLS, it is still going down there in America, and the Seattle Sounders are actually leading the MLS ahead of New York City FC. Sporting KC are in 3rd, ahead of the Portland Timbers, and at the bottom currently, it's Houston Dynamo down there with Colorado Rapids and Atlanta United down there currently at the moment. And domestically in England, we'll go with the other cups. Spurs beat Manchester City to become FA Cup winners by 2-1. The Carabao Cup, obviously, we watched it live. Manchester City beat Watford by 3-2. In the Champions League, Real Madrid win the El Clasico in that regard as well. And in the Europa League, Bayern Munich get automatic promotion to the Champions League next season, but they pretty much confirmed it with their win in the league anyway. So let's have a look at all the scorers in the competitions then. We'll start with the Premier League's top scorers, and as we reported, Marcus Rashford ended the season on 22 goals, and he needed to because Gylfi Sigurdsson actually did finish the season on 19 goals, so he was the goal scorer in the Everton's final game of the season. Pabon is third, with Shaqiri in fourth with 14 goals for Stoke City. Troy Deeney was definitely a reason Watford were in contention in fifth with 13, along with Eden Hazard, and obviously Eden Hazard would probably be a reason that Chelsea was so good for this elite search. Coutinho, Barcelona bound, I believe. He finishes 7th. Eriksen 8th. Morata goes 9th, and Williams is 10th. And Alexis Sanchez finishes the season with 12 goals for Arsenal, and it really didn't do much else aside from that. Harry Kane finishes on 12 as well, as Isami finishes on 12 as well. Jermaine Defoe was a big reason Bournemouth was saved with 11 goals. Aguero also with 11. Patti, Gomarsson, Romelu Lukaku on 10. Tadic, Benteke, Hodgson, Juve, Ings, Gabbiadini, Firmino, and that is the top 25 scorers, and it ends with Marcus Rashford back at the top. A sensational season for the youngster. As far as assists go, Coutinho wins it. Actually, he doesn't win it outright, however, because Anthony Martial is tied with him on 9, so they'll share that one. Ibrahimovic on 8th. Patti, Hazard, Kane, Rodriguez, Vardy, Williams in the complete the places. Rooney gets 5 assists for Everton. Jamie Vardy gets 7 for Leicester. Azpilicueta gets 6 for Chelsea. Sane gets 6 for Manchester City. Mata gets 5 for United. Sanchez has 5 for Arsenal. Pogba only has 5. I would have thought he had more than that. And that's the end of that one. Clean sheets is a totally unbelievable story, isn't it? Because Claudio Bravo has the most with 11, but City were barely in contention this season. John Pickford, definitely in the race to be the England number 1 possibly, as he ended up on 10 clean sheets for Everton, and a huge reason why they were so competitive this year. But down there in 9th is David De Gea, after a pretty, not torrid season, but by his standards, definitely a lot less clean sheets than we probably expect, where even the Brighton Hove Albion keeper got ahead of him, as did Lloris and Courtois, and Cech finishes with 6 for Arsenal in the 10th place spot. Yellow cards were led by Tawarski for Burnley on 8, and the red cards Zabaleta on 2. In the FA Cup, top scorer Marcus Rashford finished the year with 8 goals, and Sterling had 6. Plymouth Argyle's Carey had 4 in that one, so that's a nice pop-up there for Plymouth. And Pabon, Ali, Snow, Barry, Defoe, and Artemich Sanchez is in the top 10. And the rest down here. Main's involved for Liverpool. Sane's involved for City. Gomez had 3 for Manchester United, so he finishes in the top 25 of the season. Great season for that youngster as well. The assist count, Sane gets 5 with Gruel on 3. And then Marsh Brown for Forest Green Rovers in 3rd place. Rashford has 3. Mata has 2. Pogba has 2. Zaha has 2. Mane has 2. Ali has 2. As does Martial. And there's the one that's known there. For clean sheets, it's Karis who wins it by a virtual 4. 2 more clean sheets than Gomez for Watford. And as you could probably tell, very, if not any, Manchester United goalkeeper has kept a clean sheet in the FA Cup at all. Even though they were knocked out by Spurs by 6 goals to 2, obviously. That would put pain to that. Wanyama finishes with the most yellow cards, with Barry and Terry in 2nd and 3rd. In the red cards, it's Mark Noble, Taylor, Fonte, Henderson, Kroenke, Wallace, Walker, Mitchell, and Moat, all on 1. In the Carabao Cup, top scorer is Bolarsson of Reading, believe it or not, with 4 goals. Martial only had 3 but as you can tell, it was a total team effort for Manchester United anyway. Marta had 2, Willian had 2 for Chelsea. Dini had 2 for Watford. Lukaku had 2 for United. And Millwall, Ferguson ends that list. On the assists, it's Callum Wilson, I believe, for Bournemouth that wins that one, with Martial in second. Let's go a bit further down, see if we can see anyone. Britton there for Swansea. McGeady for Sunderland. And that is the end of that list. In clean sheets, it's Gomez for Watford as they reach the final. And as you can see, I don't think there's any mention of David De Gea at all. Romero actually gets 2. And yes, as you can see, David De Gea isn't featured on that one either. Seville is the most yellow cards with 3 and 4 red cards overall in the competition. In the Champions League, Djokovic was the real reason that AS Monaco did so well early on with 7 goals. Real Madrid's Cristiano Ronaldo had 6. Pogba and Martial had 6 apiece as well. Suarez finishes on 5, as does Di Maria. Ben Yedder, Dybala for Juventus has 5 as well. 4 for Messi and Benzema, my apologies. Higuain, Gonego, Petroli, Cesar, Lukaku, Pizzi, Morata, Carrizo for Atletico Madrid, Conan for Bayern Munich, Asensio for Madrid, Rashford there as well with Iniesta on 3, Sinclair, Coutinho, and Neymar finishes the list on 3. For assists, it's Luis Suarez at the top. He will share with Neymar and Jesse Lingard for second and third. Higuain then in 4th for Juventus, Ronaldo in 5th. Messi only has 3 assists on his way to the final. Pogba obviously had 3 as well. Looking further down, you can see Rakitic there. Bale and Kroos have 2 apiece. Tony Kroos, my apologies. Features down there. Final player, Coutinho, Muller, Costa, Pastor, Lukaku, and Koke there for Atletico Madrid. Clean sheets wise, it undoubtedly goes to Keylor Navas, who had a magnificent Champions League, 2 ahead of Reina for Napoli there. And again, as you can see, very few mention of a Manchester United goalkeeper, if any at all, which there is actually 0. Actually, David De Gea probably had his most successful tournament with 3 there, aside from the Premier League, of course. Yellow cards, Højlund gets 3, led by Henderson and Alba there as well. And very few red cards given in the overall context of the Champions League this year. De Rossi, Pepe, Guanfon, Piqué, Kelja, Pastor, Fernandez, Treble, Utami, Samaras, and Dikas. And finally, in the Europa League, we'll start with goals, and Kroken has 8 for Zenit St. Petersburg, followed by Villarreal, Bamura, and Caligru for Milan. Giroud of Arsenal has 5 down there. Anyone of any which notice? Sanchez has 4. And that is the end of familiar names there. Bologna has 5 assists, and he'll share that with Bamku for Villarreal. Looking down the list, we have Silva for Milan, Garcia for Atletico Bilbao, and Zumrasov for Real Sociedad. Clean sheets were led by Brican of Metipol Banzakor with 6, sharing that Golden Glove with Adel Bagaga of Atletico Bilbao. FC Bayern Munich keeper Namal Neuer, who is disputed in world number 1 with David De Gea, gets 4 there. And Arsenal's Ospina has 2, which is probably no surprise. Jordan Pickford is actually there with 2 as well, as Everton obviously were there competing this season as well. Milan keeper finishes on 2. And the yellow cards led by Fernando of Galatasaray, followed by Brucici and Mauricio for Milan and Lithio respectively. And finally, red cards, all ones led by Rude, Moreno, Reyes, Reynolds with Regerson, Vuma, Mandzulic, Marcelo, Rami, Klajlic, Obrio, Rafael, Gordos, Piera, Silly, Shadi, Pedro Henrique, Kavanev, Nozinev, Oles, Osmina, Yogai, and Ekling all have a red card each.